Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Chicago Lawyer Magazine's Inside Out, our regular monthly video feature exploring different aspects of the law from different points of view. I'm your host, Andy Shaw, President and CEO of the Better Government Association, and we're joined, as usual, with the inside perspective, David Susler. He's inside counsel at National Material LP. David, good to be with you again. And with the outside perspective, Tina Martini. She is a partner at DLA Piper, and by way of full disclosure, a member of the Better Government Association board. Well, today's topic is something that is near and dear to my heart as the boss of a nonprofit organization. We're going to be talking about pro bono legal work, which is something we at the BGA depend on, otherwise we wouldn't get a lot of our very important legal services. Let me ask you both first how it differs. How is pro bono different when you're coming at it from an inside perspective versus outside? David, why don't you take the first crack?
Well, some of the challenges that in-house attorneys face that private practice attorneys typically wouldn't are, one, just access to opportunities. They tend to come more frequently first to outside counsel, but I think the biggest challenge really is one with licensing. In-house attorneys often don't have their own malpractice insurance by the nature of their employment, so it's difficult to take on legal matters pro bono when you don't have malpractice insurance.
That's interesting, and it's something I wouldn't even have thought of.
Yeah.
What about from the outside perspective?
Well, just playing off of what David said, there large firms and just even private practitioners have access to platforms. Oftentimes they establish pro bono programs, like DLA Piper has a very significant and well-known pro bono platform, both domestically as well as internationally, which enables us to take on certain matters that folks in-house, unfortunately, because of the way that their legal departments are set up, often don't have that sort of a platform. And so what we're able to do is not only provide those opportunities for our attorneys who are at the firm, but we're also able to provide those same opportunities for attorneys who may be at our clients, as well as other folks that we bring in the fold through trade organizations like the Association of Corporate Counsel.
So Tina, you want to go on, David?
Well, I was going to say, that's a good point. One of the things, for example, that the Association of Corporate Counsel, ACC, Chicago chapter, does over the last few years, we've been developing a pro bono initiative, and we have partnered with 3 different pro bono organizations as well as DLA Piper to act in essence as clearinghouses and access points to pro bono work for in-house attorneys. And the advantage of the program that we've set up is they are with organizations that will provide malpractice insurance for the volunteer in-house attorneys.
Okay, so let's say we get by that one obstacle. What is the criteria? What are the measuring tools you use to determine who gets pro bono and who doesn't?
Well, we don't really determine who gets it for the lawyers. That's purely a volunteer matter. If people, like for example, the program we've set up with ACC Chicago, we email out opportunities. If people want them, they ask for them. And
then you evaluate.
And well, they'll talk to the agency, and if the matter is open, then it's kind of up to that lawyer and the agency whether the matter is.
It's like a first come, first serve sort of thing, because once the need is filled, then they would probably move on to exploring the next opportunity.
Well, how about DLA? Let's just assume there's 100 worthwhile endeavors out there that could use some assistance. How do you pick? How do you decide?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think that we really try to look at the level of need, but we also look at where it is, what type of experience we have as a firm with it, what sort of folks we've got on tap who are able to help. But we actually do a ton of pro bono. I would say that most of our lawyers do somewhere between 80 and 100 hours a year of pro bono, which ends up being many hundreds of thousands of hours internationally that are donated.
And what's the biggest challenge with pro bono compared to your normal billable hour work?
I would say there are a couple challenges. First of all, it's figuring out what you're most interested in doing, and it's also trying to find the time to do it. To the extent that you use it as an opportunity to explore an area outside of your comfort zone, so to speak, the challenge that presents is you need to make sure that you have somebody who has experience in that area, who's sort of lending you a hand and guiding you, because you want to make sure that you are giving proper guidance and counsel. Particularly, for example, if you're taking on a litigation matter, if you're doing some sort of human rights case or defending somebody in court, and that's not something that you have experience with, you want to make sure that you've got somebody who's got experience to help you along with that. So you have to work with their schedule too, and make sure that everybody's schedules and capabilities sort of line up. So I think that tends to be some of the more pressing challenges, is just fitting that in with everything else that folks have going on.
Does the challenge question apply to you too, even though you do it slightly differently?
Well, sure. I mean, you know, part of it is it's still a matter of time availability. Can you fit it within your schedule? And then it's the challenge of finding the opportunity to do it, which is why, like, for, you know, again, we set up that opportunity with the ACC Chicago chapter. Another challenge that in-house attorneys have, in addition to malpractice insurance, actually, is often licensing. In-house attorneys are frequently working for companies in states other than the home state where they're licensed. So there are now rules to allow them to have multi-jurisdictional practice in order to practice that way for their employer client. But those licenses may not allow them to take on matters for anyone else, so it limits their ability to do pro bono. There is a growing trend among states. Illinois, just within the last year, amended its multi-jurisdictional practice rules to allow such attorneys to handle pro bono matters, which really eases the entry for in-house lawyers to pro bono.
You both alluded to this, but for a final question, be a little more specific. What is the commitment of your firm and your association, and the climate that's fostered to encourage pro bono work without people feeling it's being forced down their throats unwillingly?
Well, a couple things. For me, and I think you're asking personally, I mean, for the association,
either way,
we've opened it, we set this up to make it easier for those who want to do it. For me, I've been very lucky to I work for a privately held company. The owners of the company are very philanthropic themselves. So they really understand and appreciate the importance of giving back. And I fortunately have a boss who also understands and gives me the room to do it, which helps.
Okay, so you're at one of the world's largest firms.
The largest today.
The largest. Okay, maybe by the next time we tape, somebody else will pay. It's like a pennant race, right? But anyway, so you alluded to a good climate here. What is the ethos of DLA when it comes to that?
Well, we are extraordinarily supportive of pro bono efforts, and when you look at the folks who put the firm together, Lee Miller being our global co-chairman, who is one of the architects of our firm, he is a very strong supporter of pro bono and was one of the architects of our pro bono platform. So when you look at the great support that folks from the top have provided over the years to pro bono, and the importance that they have imparted to the partnership of doing the right thing, and that's really what it's about. It's about doing the right thing and realizing that our clients our values are very much in line with those of our clients, which is to make a difference, a positive difference in the communities. And so the type of pro bono that we do a myriad of pro bono matters. I mean, just from the smallest, helping somebody set up a business, to going and teaching law school overseas, or in, like in Ethiopia, for example. So we realize that it transforms lives, that we are making a material difference in the world. And when you know that and you see it firsthand, it's really very inspiring.
Okay, I'm sorry, I want to throw in a further plug, so to speak, because it's more than just what DLA is doing today. The antecedents of DLA, one of the legacy firms, Rudnick and Wolf, is an old Chicago firm who has been instrumental in the pro bono movement in Chicago for close to 100 years. I mean, their legacy of pro bono is really unmatched.
And let me just say, as someone who for a lot of years in the news business enjoyed the lawyer jokes, just as people tell the news business jokes, I just want to say how much I've learned to appreciate the real philanthropic pro bono efforts, as I said, without which an organization like the BGA would be unable to wage some of the legal battles we need to wage for better government. So thank you both for your contributions. You're allowed to enjoy the benefits of billable hours, but I know you also give a lot back. And we thank you for joining us with this segment of Chicago Lawyer Magazine's Inside Out. We've been talking about pro bono with our regular guests, Tina Martini and David Susler. I'm your host, Andy Shaw. Join us for the next segment. We're going to look at something that probably conjures up nightmares from years past. We're going to talk about law school. Hope you join us.